What's up guys, I'm randomfrankp, and today we're going to be going over my custom $850 mechanical keyboard, the Fjell. This is a gorgeous custom, had a lot of fun making it, so I'll bring you guys through the process, talk about it, show it all off, in case you're interested in the Fjell itself, or just, the mechanical keyboard hobby in general. So starting out, the Fjell has been a staple in the keyboard community with its design and ultramarine colorway that really stands out. Pantone 3035C, and you guys know I am all about that, loving the way it looks. This is from their R5 drop, so it's been a few years since its initial release, and over time they've only made it better. It is a 60% build, so it'll maintain that small compact footprint, which I understand a lot of you guys out there may be used to your full-size, pre-made mechanical keyboards from gaming companies, but again, for the custom market, 60% is where it's at. Also personal preference. For this kit from Mechanisk, you can choose to either include a PCB at checkout or use your own, as well as your plate option. So I opted to go with their branded PCB, as well as a brass plate, because it's gonna complement that ultramarine finish beautifully. This trio will run you $360. But taking a closer look at the Fjell itself, it has a removable brass weight in the anodized aluminum body. You can see where unit 415 engraved into the weight. We also have their included EVA foam dampener. It's gonna add as a nice absorption pad underneath the PCB. And the word Fjell actually means mountain in Norwegian, so you can see those nice angles and peaks to the sides of the design, and it's really just a nice nod to its origin. So the PCB here is their own WT60D. It's even color matched to the ultramarine finish, so it's gonna look nice. Has these flex cutouts in the PCB for some extra give while typing. Now, unlike recent builds I've showed off on the channel, this one is not hot swap, so switches will need to be soldered. Also, no RGB, so we'll let the build visually speak for itself. Okay, so moving along to the rest of our components as we start to build this up. Next is for our stabilizers. I also went with their own Mechanisk ultramarine screw-ins. It looks super nice with the gold wires, translucent housing, and color matching stem. It's just gonna go perfectly with the build itself, even though you really won't be able to see the stabilizers. There's also no clipping needed here, and since they're screw-in, they're gonna be more stable. Get it? With less rattle. And I did apply some light lube to the housing and dip the ends of the wire in some dielectric grease, just for a more satisfying result. Their own stabilizers are 20 bucks. Now you're probably wondering about a Band-Aid mod, possibly. Well, KBD Fans sells these stabilizer pads. They're pre-cut foam stickers that go onto the PCB underneath the stabilizers. And they're sized and cut perfectly to act as that layer to dampen any rattling from the housing onto the PCB. And then for good measure, I did apply a tiny swipe of lube onto the foam sticker, and these for just $2 from KBD Fans. Now, as for switches, I wanted to use my turquoise Telios linear switches. They're 63.5 grams, gold-plated spring with this nice Tiffany blue housing and stem. They're gonna give you that nice smooth feel like you're surfing on ice. But yes, I did lube them with Krytox 205 grade 0 lube. And for the first time, I used a lube station from Space Cables, and my God, it saved me a ton of time just being more organized and having it all laid out, placed right in front of me so I can just go through and lightly lube the inner bottom housing. Applied a very light coat to the stem, and again, just with this lube station, I could then go through and quickly reassemble them all with the top shell. I know lubing is often like a dreaded process of building a keyboard because it's very tedious and it can get boring, but honestly, I really enjoy the process. It lets you just put on some music and think about absolutely nothing but the task at hand for like an hour or so. You just mindlessly do the same thing over and over until they're all done. And then in the end, it's just really rewarding. It's a really rewarding difference versus the stock switches. And I'll do a sound test in a bit, don't you worry, I got you. Then once they're all lubed and assembled, it's time to really get to soldering. Now what I really do when it comes to soldering a keyboard, and since I haven't done this in probably like 2 years or so, is first just put a switch in each of the corner, plus on the space bar, so I could solder them first to give the PCB and the brass plate just some even stability. That way the other ones won't like snap out if I'm putting them in on the other side or something like that. And again, while doing this, just go through, you gotta carefully make sure all the pins from the switches are sticking straight up. You snap them in one by one. You'll see all the pins and plastic feet sticking through the bottom of the PCB evenly. Then from there, once all the switches are soldered, you just place it back into the Fjell itself. And then from there, most of the work is pretty much done. It uses just the 6 screws plus the 2 mounting posts, which are actually removable now on this run. And I will say, even though it's not entirely visible as a finished result, I wish the screws were gold matched as well, or gold plated, so it would just, fit in a little bit better if you're looking at it straight on. But again, it's not even really visible when it's fully built up. So as we start to wrap it up and add the visual eye candy, for keycaps, I went GMK Metropolis, which is one of my favorite sets, and you probably see me show this off before, especially when I redid my grade 600 Peaks build when I swapped those keycaps out to this set. But it's gonna work perfectly here because you have that dark blue color to the actual keycaps, gonna match the board nicely. Then that light blue, almost teal kind of character for the key is gonna go along with the look of our switches. Even though it's not a big deal, you're not gonna really see the switches, again, it's kind of personal preference. I want that stuff to either match or complement each other. Now the base Metropolis set is $180, but that's just again for the base color set. So I did get their Midnight set add-on for the modifiers and the extra set for the icons. So that's $330 just for this set of GMK Metropolis. Trust me, I know, I agree with you, kill me. Then speaking of eye candy, I knew with this build, I wanted to go with a nice artisan. Looked around for a while and saw on Instagram Latrialoom, she makes some beautiful resin keycaps. And it was just perfect timing because she released these right as I got the Fjell in back in, I believe it was August or September. And with the hue of the light blue and the teal finish in these artisan caps, it really matches the build perfectly. And I wasn't 100% sure which one I would go with, was debating back and forth. But then once all the keycaps are on, you could see that nice brass plate shining through real nicely. I took one look at the gold specs and I knew that had to be it. Again, complementing the brass plate, and I think it looks so good. It is a perfect keycap for this build. And then the last piece to just top it off, obviously we're gonna need a nice custom coiled cable to complement the looks of the build. Space Cable sent over the perfect match. It's got the teal braiding and the text flex to again complement the characters with that teal colorway as well. Got the nice tight coil and even put my logo on the black aviator. And then just like that, our Fjell is done and looking beautiful. Everything here just perfectly complements each other. And for me, especially when it comes to visuals, that's one of the best parts about building a keyboard, is you have that full freedom to really take it in any direction you want. There's so many different keycap sets out there, switches, ways to complement and just create a nice look for your keyboard. So when it comes to aesthetics, it's honestly one of my favorite parts about the whole building process. You really start with just the case, and then from there, it's up to you to make your creation. And just because it's a tiny 60% board does not mean it's a slouch, because it comes in at over 4 pounds. And tell you, it's definitely hefty. You know, premium price, you want it to feel premium. So we'll quickly break it down. Again, the Fjell, the PCB, and the plate came to $360. My Telio switches were $72 at release for a pack of 70. Stabilizers were $20. My GMK Metropolis set with the base, the Midnight accents, and the icons, $330 even if you include the $10 shipping. The single Latrialoom artisan I used was $50, and our custom coil cable from Space Cables is $30. So before you know it, 850 bucks. Man, I'm sorry, Keith. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, we'll do a sound test of our custom Fjell build with the lubed turquoise Telio switches. And what I'll do is obviously do the full sound test of the completed keyboard, but also what I'll show you first is an example of how these Telio switches sound lubed versus unlubed. The lubed switch will have the nice colorway artisan, and then the unlubed switch will be the artisan with the X on it. All right, so now you're probably thinking that sounds like very quiet, and honestly, it's not the most satisfying response if you're especially used to like tactile switches or clicky switches. But since these are lubed and they're being linear as it is, one of the things I noticed is since these particular ones are 63.5 0.5 grams. They're obviously a bit heavier. So while typing and stuff, naturally I can feel, there is more resistance when typing. So if you're, touch typing especially, you're not gonna be bottoming out all the way. So it's not gonna have that loud, fulfilling response that you might be used to on some other loop switches. But altogether, you can hear that dampening pad inside doing a lot as well. The brass plate, and again, just the keyboard as a whole looks really nice, feels really nice, but audibly not the most satisfying. But hey, I'll deal with it because, I love a nice smooth linear switch. But yeah, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the custom Mechanisk Fjell build. I know I did. I love doing it. And I'll have all the components and stuff that I use listed for you in the description down below. And feel free to comment your thoughts on this keyboard. And trust me, stay tuned. We have a pretty exciting build coming up very, very soon as well. But guys, that'll wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed. Again, give this video a big thumbs up to show your support. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at randomfrankp. And lastly, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Hope you all enjoyed. Have a good day.